get really weird, is what we're going to do. The Territorial Cup Roast Battle. I don't know who came up with this, but it's basically
It wasn't me.
It wasn't you. No, it wasn't you.
Shaggy.
But Jarrett Carlen is going to go head-to-head with Vince Marotta, basically insulting each other's alma mater, ASU and Arizona. But we took it a step further. We brought in some serious talent into this room. So, from left to right on your radio dial. Is that how I would do that, Bernsey?
Yes. Yeah, that's how you do that.
Yes. Sun's great and broadcaster, my buddy Tom Chambers, everybody.
Yeah.
All right, next to him, screenwriter extraordinaire, Suns fan extraordinaire, Rhett Reese. Give it up to him. World Series hero, former Diamondback, former Dodger, we won't mention that. Luis Gonzalez. Gonzo, what's happening? Dave Burns, co-host of the Burns and Gambo Show. You're going to have fun today with your partner's birthday party.
Let's not talk about it.
And, of course, KTAR's Larry Gatos. Hello, boys. How are you?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
All right, you know the premise of this is all about trash talking and rivals and hatred and all that kind of stuff. Start with TC. Growing up as an athlete, did you have a rival? Who was your most hated rival? Was it a person? Was it a team? Who was it?
Growing up, like in Little League?
Or wherever.
Did you know the Pleasant View Stars? Did you know those?
Were they your rival?
You know, I never really, I don't, well, my first rival, if I had to pick one, would be BYU when I was at Utah. That would be my first rivalry. We did not like each other very much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, how about you?
It was always the Lakers. I hated the Lakers more than anyone. This gentleman to my right, Tom, beat them in the spring of 1990, and it was just all that angst just poured off me. It was awesome.
Wasn't that a glorious week, Rhett?
Oh, the best.
I would not have even remembered that year. That's good.
That's funny. Gonzo, growing up in Tampa, who was your rival? Or was it here?
Actually, I wasn't a big Gators fan because I didn't like Spurrier calling out all his players and stuff all the time on the sidelines.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Bernsey, I'd ask who your rival is, but you work with them every day.
Well, then I'll just slide the mic back over to Gatos.
Exactly.
I think Burnsy's an interesting study.
No, I
mean,
agree.
he went to 9 different colleges. He's got more rivals than anybody.
On here, I went to both schools. I went to U of A and ASU.
And you went to NAU.
And I got my degree from NAU. But my first rival, my dad grew up in Maryland, so he loves the Redskins. I never took that on, but he taught me how to hate the Dallas Cowboys. I hate the Dallas Cowboys.
It's not a bad thing.
You actually were a topic of conversation between me and my daughter because she's a freshman at ASU, and she's got a lot of wanderlust in her, so she always wants to be somewhere she's not, right? So she said, do you think I could also go to U of A sometime? And I said 2 things about that. First of all, it's a bad idea. You don't want to spend any time in Tucson if you don't have to. That's number 1. Number 2, I work with a guy, Dave Burns, who not only went to U of A and ASU, but threw in Northern Arizona. She was like, you're kidding me. That's the coolest thing I've ever heard. So you got that going for you, brother.
Sweet.
All right, Gatos, how about you?
Well, as a Yankees fan, I'm a Yankees fan, and so it was always the Red Sox. And then in 2001, it was Gonzo and the D-backs. And then you really screwed me, Gonzo, with that base hit. So I'm saying, it's a little tough to be sitting right next to you. Even after all these years, it still hurts.
There you go. Gonzo, did you ever hear Vinny's story about the 2001 World Series, by the way?
No.
You never heard this?
We don't have time for that.
You really don't? It's only 104.
Real quick. Doing a radio show with a guy named Bruce Jacobs at the time.
Yeah.
So you guys get into the World Series, playing the Yankees. We have this listener, his name's Brooklyn Joe, called into the show all the time. He says, hey, you can get the radio station to fly you to New York. I can get you guys tickets to all 3 games at Yankee Stadium. We're like, seriously? He's like, yeah, no problem. I listen to you guys forever. Consider it no problem. Radio station agrees. They fly us across the country. So we're in New York for games 3, 4, and 5 of the World Series. Joe says, meet us out in front of this sports bar outside of Yankee Stadium 2 hours before the game. So we show up way early. We see all the people milling about. It's getting kind of late. Can't get in touch with Joe. Streets are empty at this point. Helicopter flies in President Bush to throw out the first pitch. Still no Joe. Game starts, still no Joe. We get back onto the subway and go back to Manhattan where we were staying. No sign of him at all. We do the show the next day. He calls in. And he just starts laughing hysterically. Ha ha, Bruce, I got you. After all these years, I got you. He had held a grudge on the air because we had held this contest once, the best-looking Coyotes fan. And this Joe took a liking to this woman who won this Coyotes fan contest. And Bruce berated him. You got no chance. You're a loser. He vowed revenge. And he said, I finally got you. And I said, Joe, what about me? He said, sorry, Vin, collateral damage.
That's great.
Isn't that the most wicked prank you've ever
Still
heard?
reimbursing the station
Yeah.
for that trip, right?
So we went across the country to watch the three great World Series games.
In a hotel
painful
room.
ones,
Oh,
but on
my
television.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
That is
All right.
great.
All right, you guys are all going to be our judges here, so you're going to help kind of determine who wins and who flops and all that kind of stuff. You've seen that Jarrett Carlen has not only come with jokes in hand, he has come dressed for the moment. So I guess without further ado, the roast battle will begin with Jarrett Carlen taking on Vince Marotta.
Oh boy, here we go. Whoa, baby, you have this so loud, Vince. My goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, Dan Bickley. Round of applause for Dan Bickley. If you don't know, Dan is part of a great band called Whiskey's Quicker. And if you have never seen his band live, you have to. It's a very rare experience that you actually have to pay a cover charge to watch someone's midlife crisis. And I want to say how great it is to have our special judges here, especially on this special day. Dave, you might know this. This is the 34th anniversary of the release of Rocky IV. Rocky IV, where I'm sure you remember Rocky flew all the way to Russia to fight an epic match against the young Tom Chambers. Speaking of movies, Hollywood screenwriter Rhett Reese is here. Rhett is a lifelong Suns fan. He just wrote Zombieland 2, which coincidentally came out on both the 10th anniversary of the first movie, the 9th anniversary of the Suns making the playoffs, and the 5th anniversary of the last time anyone gave a crap about zombie movies.
I didn't think you had that in you.
Rhett, you actually have a lot in common with Luis Gonzalez, who is also here. I don't know if you knew this. The only difference is your lucky bloopers come during the credits of your movies, not during World Series.
You're losing points fast.
God, it's a roast.
This is the funniest you've ever been.
Larry Gatos is here. Larry Gatos. You know, some people say Larry is pompous, arrogant, a blowhard with a big ego. Dave Burns is here. Dave Burns is here, and Dave, I'm sorry you are sharing a microphone with Gatos, so that means you'll only get to speak 50% of the time, which, to be fair, is 49% more than on your own show. All right, now to start the roast, U of A versus ASU. I am representing U of A, okay? And looking at me, I think we're streaming this live. You can't tell on the radio, but I have a woolly beard, long hair, and I am sorry about my appearance, guys. I know I'm a little hairy and unkempt. I was going to get someone to show me how to shave, but I couldn't find Stephen Headache Smith.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Vince Marotta.
Yeah, Jared, it was very apropos that you apologize for your appearance. That should happen every day. I appreciate Jarrett coming dressed for battle today in a Halloween costume the day before Thanksgiving. That's right. I mean, seriously, Jarrett, you look like the world's cheapest booster. I mean, the kind of booster that would show up at a player's front door with a pizza box filled with a half-eaten pizza. It's one of the best times of the year. The Territorial Cup is here, coming this weekend. Arizona State University taking on the University of Arizona. Or wait, U of A. Or I mean, UA. Or I mean, U Arizona. That's really what you guys settled on? U Arizona? Ron Artest, P. Diddy, and Cat Stevens called and told you to pick one name and stick with it. Of course, the name change got the school mentioned on Weekend Update on Saturday Night Live. Here's to refresh your memory.
None of the judges have headphones in.
You Arizona sound like a punchline to a joke about Arizona stereotypes. Like, if you've ever gotten a DUI in a golf cart, you Arizona.
Well, unfortunately, SNL has limited time and could only use one punchline, so I've taken it upon myself to offer some more. If the greatest football defensive player you've ever had is named after a cartoon dog and saw his career peak when the Alliance of American Football folded, you Arizona.
Scooby!
If the most impressive item on your current head coach's resume is, I know Johnny Manziel, you Arizona. If you had a football coach who refused to wear pants in the office and had his wife and mistress on the sideline of the same game, and he's only the second worst member of your athletic department's recent coaching history, you Arizona. And if your basketball coach is more likely to win a wet T-shirt contest at spring break over a Final Four game, you definitely Arizona.
Oh, well done, Vinny. On to Jarrett Carlen.
Ladies and gentlemen, Vince Foxworthy. Round of applause. I'm sure one of the things you're going to mention is U of A has never made a Rose Bowl. It's a point of contention. Everybody talks about it. But ASU, it's not like they're there every year. ASU has not made the Rose Bowl since that magical 1996 season where they played Ohio State for a chance at the national championship. But they lost. So despite a great season, number 2 in the polls was the highest they got. But actually, the highest they got was in Jake Plummer's dorm room after the game.
Oh, man.
But I mean, come on, it's been 23 years since the Rose Bowl, 23 years. There are student fans at ASU football games who weren't even alive the last time ASU was nationally relevant. That's not exactly true, since many ASU students take 6 or 7 years to graduate, so they might have been alive. Also, it's not exactly true to say there are student fans at ASU football games.
Well done. Round 2, Vinny.
I just want to let everybody know, Jarrett Carlin's wardrobe today, presented by the Goodwill on Speedway. Football at U Arizona is so depressing. I mean, a couple weeks ago they had their homecoming game. 36,000 people showed up. The lowest homecoming attendance figure they've had since the 70s. It makes sense, though. I mean, would you want to go back? I'm pretty sure Andy Dufresne never packed up the station wagon to take a weekend visit back to Shawshank after he got out. I understand there were a lot more graduates that wanted to make it to the stadium for homecoming, but it turns out it's really hard to get off a Saturday shift at EG's. It's not all U Arizona's fault, though. I mean, some of this falls on Tucson, which is from the Odom word for ew. Here's some fun facts about Tucson. Did you know Tucson gets more sun than any city in America? 350 days. Which reminds me of the old saying, the sun even shines on a dog's ass an average of 350 days a year. Tucson is also the third largest city in America without a professional sports team. Although U Arizona's basketball team would rank third among current NBA franchises in total payroll. And of course, Tucson is home to U of Arizona, who, after 41 years of trying, still hasn't made it to qualify into a Rose Bowl. A lot of ASU fans actually revel in that fact, but I'm different. Look at it this way. If U Arizona got to the Rose Bowl even once, I mean, they could possibly win it. And if they won it, their fans might actually riot in the streets. How sad is it that they're missing out on the opportunity for a riot in the streets to cause tens of millions of dollars of civic improvement for Tucson?
Well done, Vinny. Round 3.
We got round 3.
Jarrett Carlen.
Well, I was expecting, these are weird headphones. I was expecting that shot at Tucson. Of course, something that Vince would do, but let's talk about Tempe, shall we? Tempe, what a lovely city. Oh, what a great city Tempe is. Especially, you know what I like? Tempe Town Lake. Tempe Town, that lake is perfect for Tempe, because just like the women there, it's attractive, but it's also shallow and man-made. And you want to talk about the attendance at U of A games. Nobody goes to games in Tempe. The stadiums are empty, and you'll say, well, it's because it's beautiful out. People do other things. Oh, or well, maybe it's because it's hot and sunny and miserable. It's hard to sit outside during football games. That's not true. No one is there, no matter the weather. I mean, the sky could be cloudier than Barry Bonds' urine, and no one would be there. The weather could be colder than James Harden in a playoff game, and no one would be there. Hell, the only thing that supports anything having to do with ASU is Phil Mickelson's man's ear.
Oh, boy.
Jarrett Carlen, everybody. Speaking about the depressing nature of football at U of A, the Wildcats haven't been so wild lately. They've lost 6 games in a row, and in their last 2 losses, they've scored a total of once. It was all part of a weird but ultimately failed tribute to Arizona's 4th most successful alum, Jarrett Carlen, and his collegiate sex life. Actually, that's inaccurate. It wasn't even once, was it, Jarrett?
You're counting with another person?
Hey, shut up. People know I went to ASU, and I'm a longtime Sun Devil fan, so they're always coming up to me offering me jokes about U, Arizona. You know, trying to poke fun at the level of academics offered at that school down south. In fact, just the other day, a guy comes up to me and says, "Hey, Vince, how many U, Arizona freshmen does it take to screw in a light bulb?" And I was like, come on, enough is enough. The premise of your joke is ridiculous. Everyone knows screwing in a light bulb is a graduate level course at U of A.
And I believe, ladies and gentlemen, this would be the final round.
This is the final round and the final joke. Everyone always says that ASU just needs the right coach, and then they could wake the sleeping giant. I'm sure you've all heard that. We've all said it. Wake the sleeping giant. How's that been going, by the way? They have had less success waking the sleeping giant than the people who found Chris Farley face down in his hotel room.
We're deducting points from that one.
Great way to end it. Besmirching an American treasure. Nicely done, Jarrett. I haven't even touched on you, Arizona's mascots yet. Wilbur and Wilma. I mean, are they married? Are they brother and sister? I mean, it is Tucson, so both is the likely conclusion. A lot of people don't know this, but after becoming the Wildcats, the student body was gifted a live Wildcat mascot named Rufus in 1915. Rufus didn't last long, and this is absolutely true. Rufus, in 1916, somehow hanged itself from a tree branch. Officials thought it was weird and suspected foul play until they went and checked out Rufus's cage and found a note that said simply, "This place sucks, I'm out." That's actually off color. I'm sorry. I think we should have a moment of silence for Rufus the Wildcat. So, Jarrett, if you could tell another joke to provide that silence, that would be great.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Jarrett Carlen
What a moment of silence. Let's go to an ASU basketball game.
and Vince Marotta, the first ever Territorial Cup Roast Battle. Very well done, both of you.
Well done, Vince.
Nice job, Jarrett.
Yeah.
A lot nicer than your wardrobe.
All right. So now this is the time when you guys get judged by our most awesome celebrity panel. So why don't we start this way? You want to start here? Larry Gatos first.
Do it.
Can I just have one last note that I'd like to make?
Yeah.
Only one of the 2 roasters actually took shots at the judges. I just want to have that.
Loving shots, though.
That's
Larry.
where I'll start. I think Jarrett started ripping the judges. I totally loved it. Even though he said I was pompous, I had a big ego, and can't fit in the same room as everybody.
And arrogant.
Arrogant, sorry, I forgot about that one. So I liked, actually, that he started with ripping the judges. And then I said, okay, that's pretty good. Let me see who does the 2 or 3 best jokes, and I'll probably give that person the win. The Jake Plummer joke was funny, getting high. The Tempe Town Lake joke was pretty funny, getting high. And Jarrett Carlen is going to get high because he promised that he'd put all the Christmas lights up on my house this weekend for free if I voted for him. So I'm voting for Jarrett Carlen.
One vote for Jarrett Carlen. Next up, the great Dave Burns. What's up, Burnsy?
All right, guys. I looked at it like this. I starred every time there was a joke that I thought was at least a double end of the gap or a home run. So for Vince Marotta, I've got stars by his U Arizona stuff. That was fantastic. The Carlin silence joke at the end. That was very good. For Carlin, I gave him stars for the Headache Smith shave joke. That was great. The Jake Plummer dorm room getting high joke, awesome. The shallow plus man-made joke, that was great, but I deducted a point for the Farley joke. I just thought that was completely uncalled for. So I've got it 2-2, but I'm going to give the edge to Jarrett Carlen. Higher number of funnier jokes.
There you go, 2-0. Jarrett, Luis Gonzalez,
End it right
World
here.
Series hero.
Well,
Don't be Young Kim.
Unlike
End it right here. Don't extend it.
our
Don't extend
first two judges that took notes and everything, I don't think us,
very
the
good.
next three did.
No.
We just kind of rode along and listened in. But yeah, it was pretty entertaining. Vince, of course, had some pretty good ones. I actually thought they were going to get more on the coaches than they did, and you know, the painting of the A and stuff like that. I didn't hear any of that, but Jared was good also. I love the attire. I mean, anytime I go to a sports bar, I'm looking for a guy like that sitting at the bar,
To stay away from?
bellied up. Yeah, you can contribute to him. He's yeah, he's got the old jumpsuit on, and it was close. It was close, but I got to give it to Jared.
I mean,
It's over. There goes the
they came
Tom and I
all.
can go home.
They
Tom and I
came
can
all
just
the
go
way
home.
in. Let's at least hear what
Oh,
they
no,
have
we
to
got
say.
We're
It would be
definitely going to hear
5-0.
from all of our panelists.
Yeah.
The problem is you're going to think this is a pity vote now.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
I was going to say, I don't think he's all that picky right now.
No, yeah, no, you're right. Well, look, Sophie had an easier choice than this. These guys were both great. You guys were both really funny. Jarrett, you scarred my retinas, unfortunately, so we'll be able to see you quite some time. But I'm gonna lean Vince. I am. I thought the Chris Farley thing was just it kind of took the air out of the room at the end. You can never do that as a comic. That's tough. So I'm going with Vince.
Thank you, Rhett.
Yeah, right. All right, former
It's like
Suns
kicking
great.
a field goal when you're down 46-3.
And the man who dunked on everybody, Mr. Tom Chambers.
I'll tell you what, both terrific, but and I love the shallow bat.
I knew you would.
Jake was pretty good too. There were some good shows,
Uh-huh.
and there was some really good ones there. But the whole, just to look at you.
I told you.
Right. You look funny. Doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
Carlen looks funny,
He
yes.
looks funny.
Carlen
He
looks
does.
funny.
That would be it. Now, if I didn't get to see you, like our listeners out there couldn't see you, I think it would have been a little closer. But if they got to see that, I mean, that's polyester from the '60s. Man. I'm telling you right there. Now that's sweet. So I got to go, Jared.
Oh, there you go. Well done,
Well
panel.
done,
Thank you very
Jarrett.
much.
Good job.
Jarrett Carlen, we actually took him golfing, Vinny and I did, and we played an ASU course. And he showed up pretty much like that. And it was, I'm like, what is the matter with this guy? It is, the whole world is dress up for Jarrett Carlen. And he has zero shame. Zero. Proof. Right here. Everybody. Congratulations, Jarrett.
Thank
Well
you.
done.
Yeah, I'm
What-
glad too. At least Arizona should win something this
Oh,
weekend.
Jarrett, hold on, Jarrett. Victory speech.
Oh. Well, instead of thanking all the people that helped me get there, I'd like to attack all the people that wronged me over the years. My third grade teacher, Mr. Indelicato, how dare you tell me not to talk and make jokes in class? Look where it got me now. Thank you, everybody.
On behalf of
Bear
Tom
down.
Chambers, on behalf of Rhett Reese, Luis Gonzalez, Dave Burns, Larry Gaidos, on behalf of our two great contestants, well done. Well done, initial Territorial Cup Roast Battle. We're back right after this.